then that's good.
Okay, that's perfect. All right. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. And this is the Safe Room Podcast. I'm your host, the president, Sean Williams. And we're here at the Safe Room, a safe space for entrepreneurs and business owners here in Toronto to share their personal and professional stories. Today, we have a very special guest. And I know for a certain audience out there, you're probably excited to see this individual hop on. I'm excited to have this individual hop on the podcast today. And we're gonna talk a little bit of fashion. So if you have a very high palate, this is your conversation. And let me tell you something. This guy right
That's
here,
right.
he's at the top of the list, top tier, should I say? So I mean, he is a Zimbabwean-born fashion designer based in Toronto, and after attaining fashion design training from Central Institute of Technology in Perth, Western Australia. Okay. Aus-
Yep.
Australia? Like
Yes,
that?
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
And
sir.
then he furthered his studies at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. So clearly,
That's right.
our guest loves to go international with it. He's like, I'm not staying in Canada. We're going all over the place. He has launched its custom made women's wear collection, exhibiting nine monochromatic looks,
Yep, that's right.
featured a two-piece denim suit, okay, and an iconic strap chrome evening dress, and a leather and chiffon two-piece. Now, listen, I'll be the first one to say it. I don't know much about fashion, but hearing that, it just sounds chef's kiss suave, should I
Yeah.
say. Ladies and
Well, I'm here to
gentlemen,
help you. I'm here
enough
to
with all
educate you and teach you everything.
enough with all the crazy introduction. Let's get right to our guest. We have Foster Siyawareva. I think I pronounced it
See ya,
right.
whatever. But that's okay.
Siya,
Well done. I'll give
Siyawareva.
you. I'll give you 8 out of 10. I'll give you eight out
Okay,
of 10.
I will take that. Foster, how are you doing?
I'm fantastic, Sean. I mean, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about sitting down to have this conversation with you, and yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, okay. First things first, I want to talk about just the first time that we interacted, and like my memory's a little bit foggy. It might be just the long week I've had so far, but I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it was business in the streets that we.
yeah. That's right. That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Shout
the
out
one.
to Bits, man. If you guys
I
don't know about
know.
business in the streets in Toronto, you need to
Yeah.
tap into
Shout
them.
out to him.
Yes, man. And like I remember like, just our first interaction. I know afterwards, we kept in contact and
Hmm.
I really wanted to know more about the work that you were doing and you had an interest in coming on the podcast. I think it was just a matter of like what's the perfect timing. And I felt like
Hmm.
I was in a period where like I was looking for guests and like you reached out like at the perfect time and we're like, "Oh my
Oh,
goodness."
really?
Like yeah, like I was literally like in a drought where I'm like who the heck am I gonna get on here for Love Bay Radio?
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like,
So perfect timing.
yeah,
Perfect timing.
so I'm happy that you're on here, and we're definitely gonna talk about your personal journey, how you got started into fashion, design, and everything like that. Like I said, you have
Hmm.
a incredible resume, so we're gonna dive deep into that. But before we get to the main questions, we have to start with our opening segment, the hot seat. So
Hmm.
don't worry, Foster, it's nothing too crazy. It's no
Nothing
like
too crazy.
no spicy questions, nothing like
I know.
that.
I
But
was starting to sweat a little bit. I was starting to sweat a little bit.
honestly, I feel like if you're sweating, it's probably because of the weather outside here in Toronto because it is scorching hot.
Oh my goodness. Yep. And I got drenched trying to get ready, but yeah, I made it. I'm still here.
Yes, we're here. So let's get into this opening segment. I'm gonna ask you four questions and you just have to answer them to your best ability, okay?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
Outside of the work that I do, I sing in church. That's one. There you go. That's something different. Yeah, I sing in church. That's a one liner. I'm a very active member in my church. Um, I'm part of a church called Christ Embassy. I think that I was founded in Nigeria, and we have branches all over the world. We have a branch here. We have different programs. It's an international church, So that's something you probably don't know about me outside of the fashion industry. So yeah.
All right, that's very interesting. I actually think I did go to your Instagram and it might have said on your personal page gospel singer and fashion designer. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
did pick up
yeah, yeah.
that little Easter egg, but that's very
Yeah.
interesting. I I want to ask you a follow-up question. Do you have like any conversations with, any friends or colleagues that have to do with like, religion? Because obviously when we look in today's society, everyone when they hear the word religion, they start to like tense up and they feel like, oh no, like I don't know if I want to be part of this conversation. But like, do you feel like you have like a good circle of people that you can have conversations with where it doesn't become so like tense, nerve wracking in a way when it comes to religion?
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good question because I feel like I am a part of two different worlds, and so it sometimes is quite challenging to merge the two because I'm so involved in our church ministry, and I'm so involved in the fashion industry as well because it's my profession. But the two, for some reason, just seem to sometimes just not mix, and I'll explain that in the sense of fashion tends to be a little bit uh, less conservative, and of course, the church is more conservative. Fashion wants to be creative, and to push the creative boundaries sometimes means to push, those conservative boundaries. The church is trying to retain those boundaries, And so I have friends who understand that fashion is a business, and so they kind of like help center me and remind me that fashion is a business. We understand your position and what you do in church, but we also understand that this is a business. You are the Christian in the business. You know what I mean? So I have my groups of friends who also are in business, different fields, not necessarily fashion, but they are people of faith who can sort of like recenter my thinking and remind me of the core values of what I believe and how to approach certain things. So yeah, I do have people who help me with advice and guidance. I have mentors. My pastors are very helpful. And yeah, I have a great circle of friends too.
I love that, man. That one line you said about you are the Christian in your business. I feel like we got to tag that line. That's something that we got to put together because
Yeah.
that is a gem right there. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
so true because I feel like again, when you look at entrepreneurship, just in a grander, like a big landscape, a
Mhm.
lot of us tend to go through a lot of troubles, a lot of downs when it comes to how we run our business, and sometimes for some of us, like we have God to look up to. Like it's like, how do we stay faithful? How do we keep the faith? Because sometimes we
Mhm.
tell ourselves we're going through such trials and tribulations that you're thinking to yourself, like, am I supposed to be in this situation? Is this like God testing me, or is this like the devil trying to like do his due and like I have to rebuke it and everything like that? But I feel like it's so important that you did mention how you are the Christian in your own business because again, it's about having faith. It's about having a level head, a level mindset and I feel like for you, it's good to know that you have a good circle of friends and people who allow
Yeah.
you to stay aligned. Because I feel like a lot of times people will just talk about more on like the bottom lines of like, oh, you just got to make sure you're making money and this and that. But it's like, okay, like money's a
Mhm.
given. Like that's how
Yeah.
business is run. But what about just like mentally? Like, are you doing okay? Are you making sure that you're not straying away from your passion or what you're doing? And I'm just trying to like
Yeah.
kind of connect it in a more entrepreneurial mindset of side of things. That's just
Yeah.
kind of how I
Exactly.
see it. So, but I feel like
Yeah.
how you explained it too, it was so eloquent of how you put it. So I really appreciate you just kind of
Yeah.
going into detail on that.
Yeah, and just to to add to that as well is that you know um being a Christian kind of like helps me have a moral compass, and that moral compass sort of like gives me a standard that I need to live up to. And the other thing is that as much as the fashion industry seems to be very risque and on edgy and all of that stuff, but my personal observation and discovery in the industry is that a lot of people, the people who actually have the money, the people who actually want to spend money on the brand, actually are more on the conservative side than on the riskier side. So the guys who wear the crazy fashion, yeah, some of them do have money, but where the real money is, people are still a little bit more conservative. So which is a win for me, actually, which is a win for me. So my faith helps me to have a moral campus and provides a standard, um, for me in the industry.
Absolutely. Wow. We're already on question one. I feel like this conversation just took a whole level up. Like it's very enlightenment in a way. I mean,
You got me sweating. I can see myself. I'm glistening in this light.
listen. If you sweat, it's okay. This is the safe room. We're
Yeah,
here to just be unapologetic. Listen, if it helps, I'm sweating
awesome.
too, and it's because of how hot it is in here. So I mean, it
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah. It's
Anyway,
Canada.
let's get on to the second question here. So this one's a little bit tricky because like I want to word it right. I don't want it to be where it's coming off the wrong way. But I guess what was the hardest look that you had to pick out for yourself to an event or a fashion show? It could be one or both.
The hardest look in terms of like a dress code or
Yeah, it could be like a dress code or even just be like personal preference as well, you know?
yeah. Well, I had a well, actually I have one uh from the last show. I thought it was just as much as it would have made a statement and an impact. Well, actually, you know what? There's one from my graduation show. I had it was my closing look, and it was a skirt and a t-shirt. And the my lecturer, because everything was quite modest and not overly sexualized and stuff like that, and it goes back to that thing about having a moral compass. So my lecturer was suggesting that I make the t-shirt see-through, and then the model goes down the runway topless, so her chest is showing, and and it would be just like that shock factor. I know a lot of guys wouldn't complain. But I just thought that was just not me, and that just was not the brand, and that didn't reflect on who I was. And so I kind of like I kind of decided against that, and I just decided to make the model wear a regular t-shirt, which turned out perfectly. And it was just awesome. I don't regret that decision at all. And looking back, I am glad I was able to make a strong decision and stand by it, and it definitely paid off. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. All right. I think I might have lost you there, Sean. I don't know if it's me or it's you.
My screen's frozen.
Oh yeah, you're back.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't see you. But I'm here.
Okay, yeah, I can't see you either. I don't know what happened, but as long as
Oh
I can
really?
hear you, I feel we can keep the conversation going.
Okay. I don't know if it's me because my screen kind of like your screen moved around. I don't know if it's anyway. But which part did you last hear?
I heard everything actually. I did hear like your entire explanation,
Okay.
how yeah, from the graduation situation. And I was just kind of echoing saying that you're able to pivot and turn a wrong into a right, a good to a or bad to a good, which is great. I feel like it's super crucial for anyone who is running the business or just in the have has like a quick, trigger in
Mhm.
their head to say, all right, you know what, this is do
Yeah.
something completely different, especially for yourself working in fashion. If you see something that goes like completely left, it's like, we gotta fix that immediately before like
Yeah.
there's more bleeding to that wound.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people. I can see. Chanel Williams said she can see me, but she can't see you, and I can't see you either. I don't know what that might be.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
But
we're
anyway,
having
yeah.
a yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, guys. Apologies for that. I'm able to
Okay.
hear Foster, but I don't
Okay.
know
No
what
problem.
happened to the image.
No
But
problem.
as long as you guys can hear,
Yeah, I think they can hear. You know.
yeah,
Yeah.
guys, we're gonna run into problems like this, and just kind of like keeping a cool head and just kind of going with the flow. So you guys can just admire Foster and I's frozen images.
No problem. Just about that, what we were just talking about in the fashion industry about the example I gave in my graduation show where I had to kind of like make that decision. The other thing I was talking about with my Christian circle of friends is that I have the great opportunity to decide the gender of a piece of clothing, and which is a topic that's so important now with everything that's going on, because I know there's definitely androgynous pieces of clothing, and I think everyone going with the whole idea of being non-binary and all that stuff. I'm not going to go too much into that side because that's a whole another can of worms. But what I'm saying is, as a designer, I feel I also have, and as a Christian as well, I have a responsibility to represent um, what I believe and what I think is the direction that the world should go in terms of like dress and sensibility. I hope that makes sense. But I just
Yeah.
thought I should point that out.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that makes sense. All
Mhm.
right. Let's go on to the third question for this hot seat segment. An interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Okay, an interesting fact that I rarely share about myself. Um, I actually, I lived in Dubai for 2 years, and because I was living in Dubai, I worked with a lot of friends from India, and I started to learn a little bit of Hindi.
Oh,
So I
wow.
know a little bit of Hindi. So if I get dropped in the middle of India somewhere, I think give me a few weeks. I think I'll be able to find my way around and kind of like start a new life for myself in India.
Wow.
So yeah, so I know how to introduce myself. I'm obsessed with Bollywood. Bollywood cinema is just the best thing to ever happen to TV. And yeah, I'm a big fan.
Okay, that's interesting. Because honestly, I don't think I could ever it just could go in that manner. But
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like yeah, like that's I wish I could speak another language. Just in that
Hmm.
sense, I would hope that if I'm dropped anywhere personally in the world, I'm able to just speak that language to that audience to that culture. But for me, I only know English, so I'm kind of limited.
And you speak English very well, so that's good enough.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
There
That's
you
something I
go,
can
right?
definitely take into. I actually have a follow up question to that.
Hmm.
Do you have like any interest of possibly, styling a Bollywood actor or actress? Since you said you have an interest in Bollywood cinema, maybe that's something that you actually want to like, if I had the chance to do like costume designs or anything like that, like I would be down for it.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know all their names, but I think I just know the popular ones. Ashwarya Raya, she was a former Miss Universe, and I think right now she's a philanthropist and something to that effect. I would love to dress her. Um, I mean, I'm just putting it out there now. Priyanka Chopra is gorgeous. I mean, Priyanka Chopra Jonas, of course, I would love to dress her. When it comes to the guys, if I had to, uh, once I do menswear and put it out there, I would like to do dress Ritik Roshan. He is just so he's so interesting. He's such a handsome guy. He has he's like got these clear blue eyes, and he just Bollywood movies, how they're very dramatic
Right.
and romantic, and they just so extroverted in their expressions. Hrithik Roshan would be like one of the guys I'd love to dress, and Shah Rukh Khan. I mean, just give me the whole Bollywood list. Like everybody. Give me
Right.
everybody.
Uh-huh.
So
That's so true. That's so true. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
personally, like I wish I had the opportunity to kind of be on set for something like this and kind of experience how everything is going for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. Um going on to the final question here. So what is your personal safe room? So what's a safe space? It could be physical, it could be mental, that allows you to be yourself, be your authentic self.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I think my safe room would be, I think, a place of prayer, because I find that sometimes there's so much noise and in the world and in the industry as well, because there's so many moments where I've questioned myself and my creativity and wondered if I actually am good enough to be a designer. But I had to withdraw and go into a place of prayer and just talk to God and be like, I want to do this, and I belong to you. Can you help me to do this? And God, you know everything. You see everything. You understand everything. You're a designer yourself. You design the whole world. Help me understand the direction to go. And so, in that place of prayer, I always come out feeling more assured of who I am. I come out feeling more confident, more assertive, and I always come out with some sort of like a revelation of I don't know how else to put it, but a revelation of where I should go and where I can put myself and where I fit in the industry. So my safe room is a place of prayer, understanding that even though I want to make an impact and I want to do something radical and never seen before, and I want to be the next biggest designer that the world has ever seen, but I also understand that God already knows everything. And sometimes the biggest thing is the simplest thing. So I really just submit myself to Him in my safe room of prayer. And when I come out, I always have results. I always have changes. And I always have answers.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. That honestly might be the best answer someone has ever given for that particular question. Like
Yeah.
truly, like no,
Oh,
because like
awesome.
it's so true. Because again, I've heard many answers. Like a lot of them have kind of been like, oh, it's my room or it's my car.
Mhm.
Maybe it's like the gym or wherever it may be. But I've never heard it say like just their safe room is with God. Having that conversation with Him and just like saying like, hey, like keep me on track, just give me strength, prosperity,
Mhm.
like that's something I can appreciate too, because I feel like again when you have the conversation with God or just God in general, when you hear that word, people tend to again tense up, or it just seems to be like, oh, they just don't believe, or it's like, oh, that's just not my cup of tea. But you see, like you
Yeah.
wear that proud on your sleeve, and like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
care what
For
anyone
sure.
thinks about it, and that's what I can appreciate too. Like I come from a Christian family as well, so it is what it is. But
Hmm.
I really appreciate that. So I mean, yeah, it's just something I can always just kind of reflect on myself and be like, yeah, like this is something I really respect. And even just overall, I try to do the same thing for myself. Just kind of wake up every day, say a prayer, and just kind of tell God, like, just keep me on track, help me find my purpose. Like, what's my purpose in life? What's something I got to make sure that I stay on track, that I'm not losing faith in you, and I'm
Hmm.
able to just do my work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way, brother.
Yeah, man. Okay. Wow. Man, we are just wrapped up the hot seat, and I feel like we are just
And
kicking
it
in
was
the fourth
hot.
gear. It wasn't even hot. It was spiritual. We should have called it the spiritual seat, because
Oh
it was
yeah, I love
literally
that.
like
The spiritual seat. I love that. I love
we
that.
I think you may have just like made me decide to like, yo, we might have to change the name after this interview.
You know what? I would be honored. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to get into the first question. So, how does the world of fashion for you, Foster, allow you to express your creative freedom, but also, exercise your entrepreneurial mindset equally?
Okay. Well, I mean, I think I touched on it briefly, that the fashion industry is a business, and so that does help me to to be an entrepreneur, in that I'm just creating a product, right? And so the people already have a desire for the product that I'm creating, but I am just providing it to them in a new way, not necessarily a new way, but in my own way, in my own understanding, and finding also like a gap in the market, because I feel like with fashion, there's so many brands already. It's just like how many, it's just what else can you offer that people don't already have? But there's an understanding and a sensibility of fabric, of cut, of putting things together, that people are always feeling like, I haven't seen that before in that way. I know it's like a strapless dress, but I haven't seen it in that way before. So offering that to people in a new light, it sort of like induces a desire for that product, and so that kind of like also translates to sales, and then that translates to the business growing, and so forth. Yeah, so I hope that
Yeah.
answered that question.
No, no, I definitely think so. And like again, when you look at fashion overall, and just like again, it can be very risky in terms of just
Mhm,
how you dive into it. Like I said, like I really don't know much about fashion. I don't know anything about like the trends or just like even the looks. The only time I will ever talk about fashion, this is like more of a joke thing, is like
mhm.
anytime I will watch like an award show and then you have like the red carpet and it's like, all right, who's like the most dripped out, or like who's someone
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
did not come to like show out. But I feel like maybe for some of yourself, like maybe you look at stuff like this, but also kind of like maybe the little details that maybe someone else is not thinking about.
Yeah.
So
Well, I will add to what you're saying there, but everybody actually has a sense of maybe, let me not say fashion, but a sense of style in a way. Even you, because I think the idea of, oh, this person is fashionable, they are thinking of something a little bit more outlandish and a little bit more crazy. But when you're talking about um, style in the sense of fashion, we're talking about how you view things, how you relate to things, how you relate to your body, and how you want to feel when you're putting on a piece of clothing. And those things translate into your style. And so you find that a person can come and look, especially a professional stylist can come and look at your wardrobe, and they can tell the kind of outfits that you would feel comfortable in, and they can tell the kind of outfits that they think you would look good in, and they can tell the outfits that you would hate and you would look terrible in. So it's just, everybody has it, and you have it too. It's just a perspective, it's just an understanding of yourself and how you like your tea.
yeah, I think that's so true because, like, I feel like for anyone who can relate when it comes to even just picking out your own clothes, you want to feel comfortable in your own clothing. It's kind of like an extra layer on your skin that allows you to just kind of still be yourself, but kind of show out maybe a little bit of personality or maybe like your professionalism, depending what the occasion may be. And I feel like for you, you have a really good understanding of just what people want to feel when it comes to clothing and how you can provide that through your own service and through your own business, which I feel like some people are still trying to like figure out as they go. And maybe for yourself, you still feel that you're trying to like master this type of like understanding. But I feel like even just you explaining it right now, it's like you're convincing me, like, oh man, like, yeah, like he's kind of hitting all my pain points right now, or just like he's hitting everything that I would be thinking. So I feel like you have a good grasp on just everything at this point. You there, Foster? Hello? I think we lost Foster, guys. I think we lost Foster.
Hello? Hi.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I lost you for a second.
Yeah, well, we can hear you. We could hear you, but I don't know. Um, you couldn't hear me. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, like I was kind of explaining and then like you kind of cut off. Maybe what I'll do right now, let me hop off and let me see if that will fix everything.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'll stay on.
Um yeah, maybe if you stay on that'll be fine. Let me just try to hop off of my end and then see what's going on.
Sure.
All right, I'll be back in a sec.
No problem. All right. I wish I could see who's joining us. Would have been really nice to say hello to a few people. But thank you for joining and connecting. And I hope you're having a good time. All right, all right, all right. Let's see how Shon is doing here. There we go. There he is.
There we go. All right.
There he is. Awesome. Welcome back.
Um,
Technology.
Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties, guys. I feel like
Yeah,
you know what it
technology.
was, and I had to pause for a moment. I think it was the moment where
Oh
it's like
no.
literally me doing that caused me to like I don't know. There was like a glitch, so I don't know if I literally sabotaged my own podcast on here. I don't know if I did.
No, no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, but
Well, we're back on now, so we're still having a good time. So
yeah, and I
yeah,
hope
I wish I could
everyone.
see who was with me because I felt like I was just in a room by myself and and people were watching me, and I don't know who's watching, But it's all good. I am sure everyone who's joining is,
Yeah,
is
yeah. And I appreciate
is blessed by
anyone
it.
who's still here with us. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Safe Room podcast here on Love Bay Radio. We're here with our guest Foster, Sia, whatever. That's
That was good. You're like at 9 now. We need
no,
like
because
one
like
more.
I'm taking the little
Yeah,
technique you
yeah, yeah.
said. So
That's it. That's it. That's it. Now you just need to get to rolling your R, and
yeah.
then you're
The
in.
thing is,
You're in.
I can roll my art, but it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like if I roll it too hard, I'm gonna like completely butcher the entire like
No,
last
you
thing.
could never. You could never. But anyway, you know what? It's maybe it's a dialect thing. You'll get it. You'll
Yeah,
get it.
I don't know, man. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed Foster for the last couple of minutes, just kind of solo, you know.
I didn't know what to do. I was just like, anybody there? SOS.
This is what people don't know. Like people think like,
Yeah.
oh, I can go sit in front of a mic and talk. Listen, guys, I used to do solo episodes and like I was fine with it, but
Yeah.
it ain't easy.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah. And here you are. Here you are, growing stronger by the day.
I appreciate that. Okay, you know what? Let's get back to the conversation. I know we've done a lot of like technical stuff, so I'm giving a prayer to God right now that we do not have any more technical
Well,
difficulties.
amen. And we agree.
So,
No more technical difficulties.
uh-huh. Okay, okay. All right. So Foster, I want to get on to the next question. So again, we were kind of talking about it a bit on like,
Hey Chanel. Sorry, I think your sister is on. I'm just saying hi.
oh yeah, yeah. Shout out to the comment section, Chanel. She's kind of been here as like the default technician here. She actually went in my room and asked me like, "Is everything good? Like I can't hear nothing." I'm like, Don't worry, we're gonna get straight. We're gonna get everything straight."
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to ask you, Foster, about industry trends because obviously we talked about fashion in terms of just like again, people feeling comfortable and how you kind of have a really good understanding for that. But also industry trends. Obviously, how do you try to stay up to date with what's being said on, online, in the streets, just with other clients, or even like working with other, businesses and organizations within your field? How do you try to stay on top of those trends so it allows you to have a competitive advantage, but also, be more up to date? Because I know there's so much trends that can be out there that you may not be able to tap into everything, but just kind of explain like your process of how you try to stay on top with everything with trends.
Yeah, you know what? With trends, it can be quite a slippery slope. And if you get into that stream of following trends, you might just get swept away and lose your identity, and your DNA as a brand and as a designer. So what I find is that now I just launched my first collection. And the first thing that I wanted to do with this collection was to establish and announce who I am and what I do. And then with that being displayed and being projected on the runway, then the people who connect with that will be attracted to it. But also with from the business perspective, before creating this collection, I also looked at what was missing in the market and how I could provide and meet that need. And so I just didn't just like shoot and say, hey, this is just me, love me or leave me. No, I first did some kind of like background research of where can I position myself in the Canadian market, and how can my brand provide this need. And then um and then I presented this collection. I sort of like tried to close my ear off what the trends were and paid attention to what my inner instinct was. And I put myself in the position of, if I was to wear these clothes, how am I feeling right now? Because a lot of times people are feeling the same things. During COVID, for example, a lot of people were going through the same emotions. And during that period, people started feeling the same way of, I don't need to wear fancy clothes since I'm at home all the time. And then you notice that in the fashion industry, clothes became more and more relaxed. People were not wearing the super tight clothes anymore. They were not wearing baggier clothes. Sort of like people were wearing pajamas outside instead of like inside, because people were feeling the same thing, because they were like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not seeing anybody. So the world became more relaxed. So it was a feeling.
Oh, Foster, I think we lost your audio. Yeah, like for some reason, like I can't hear you now. I, I so you can hear me, but for I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your audio is gone completely. I don't know if like maybe it's like your headphones are loose or your earphones are loose, perhaps, or no, I still can't hear you. Man, oh man, I have no idea what is going on. Guys, the devil is a lie. Oh my goodness. I did not think this would happen. Okay, you know what, Foster? Maybe you try hopping off and then come back on. I guess I'll take your spot and I'll go solo for a second. Yeah, maybe if you hop off and come back on, maybe everything will be fine. All right, guys. So the technical difficulties continue. I apologize for this, guys. I think it may have to do with the weather. It may have to. I don't know if it has to do with the weather, but things like this happen. So to kind of even go into detail, this is not the first time I've had to deal with technical difficulties. It happens all the time. It's just figuring out how to, pivot, figure out ways of just improving. So again, to everyone listening, I hope you guys understand. And I appreciate if you're still listening because again, stuff like this can happen at any time. So we don't know if everything's gonna be completely perfect. That's why we try to, prevent these from happening as much times as possible. So I really appreciate you guys staying on for the conversation. Foster, can you hear me? I still can't hear you. I don't know what is happening.
Oh wow.
Oh,
I don't
hold
know.
up. Yeah, I think we're good now.
You're good?
Yeah.
What happened? Okay. You know what? I think yeah, you know better than I do.
Yeah,
But
I think what's it like? I was just trying to see like if everything was good, but yeah, I think we're good now. I think we're perfect. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And it has to stay this way. It has to stay.
I don't even want to discuss it. Let's just get back into the conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We
Yeah,
got it. We got this.
maybe you could leave off from what you were previously saying.
Yeah, so we were talking about trends, right? And so
Yes.
it is a feeling. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to the kind of because I did women's wear. And so the kind of woman that I wanted to I felt like she was apart from who my target woman is, I felt like this woman right now in her life, she is feeling very excited, very young and optimistic. Of course, because of the season, just the place where life is. I mean, everybody is living in this post-COVID era, and so everything is now kind of like going back into place. So people are now a lot more hopeful. So I wanted to kind of like express that in the collection. So the backdrop of the runway was a sunrise, and actually the idea of this, it didn't show when I did the show, but the idea was from the moment the first model came out, the sun was supposed to start rising, and by the time the finale came out, which is all the models, the sun should have been fully arisen, but that didn't show. I think the sun was like about to rise, and then the last model came out, and I was like, ah, we're out of time. We just, so it's a feeling. It's a feeling that I am selling to my audience, and it's not so much a trend. It's not clothes. It's a feeling, and I think people connect emotionally to things, and so that's what makes fashion great. It's the emotions that we feel, and so the moment you jump onto a trend, you're just going down a rabbit hole, and then soon enough people will not really know who you are. you know there will be
Mm,
moments, I think, when with trends, is that there will be moments where it seems like your brand is keeping a low profile, but that's okay, because it's just re I don't know, metamorphing into uh, a refreshed version of yourself. So you find that in fashion, there are certain brands that we talk about and talk about for a period, and then we kind of like forget about that brand, and then start talking about another brand, and then forget. Like Tom Ford, like there was a time it was just like Tom Ford was in music, Tom Ford was in, everybody in hip hop was just Tom Ford. Tom Ford was just in movies. Everywhere was Tom Ford.
Jay-Z, Tom
You know
Ford. So I mean,
exactly. And then now it's kind of like Tom Ford is still there, you know, and I'm sure they're still doing well as a brand. But they just, you know, there's just right now the world is hungering for something different. But their target market, their audience that they were aiming to reach are still there because they still speak the same language. So those group of people are not going anywhere. But if they abandon that group of people to say, we're going to follow this trend, they would have lost that. And then when they try to come back to it, they've gone somewhere else. So staying true to yourself, staying true to your identity, is I think is very important. It will
hmm.
pay off eventually. It will pay off eventually.
I like that, because I feel like for you again, it's having that understanding with trends. I feel like again, a lot of people kind of lean towards it because they want to know what's hot. They want to make sure that they stick within the crowd. But I feel like for you, again, you're focused on the feeling. I think that what makes you like unique. It makes you like the outlier of all your competitors and the people that you're going against. It's not to say that like, hey, I don't hate trends, but it's like that's not what I'm focusing about. I want it to be where you have a feeling that there's a connectivity, emotionally, where it allows you to say, oh wow, like I really resonate with, what I'm seeing right now on stage, like the looks and like it speaks to me rather than like, oh look, like they did that cool trend that I saw online. Yeah, like that's
Yeah,
gonna get me on it. Cause I feel like again with trends, like they come and go.
they do.
Feelings
They do.
are timeless, like memories are timeless, and those are things that you can't replace. So that's something I can even respect on my end. Like I try to, create conversations where it's not just like, okay, you come and you go, like you listen to it, but it's like it's whatever. I try to create conversations that you could pass on to like a friend and then your next friend or to your family
Yeah.
members or like your colleagues.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, I'm listening to this podcast here and like you should definitely check it out. It's just like a fun conversation, but you get to learn about these people and learn about yourself, Foster. Just like, hey, this is what they're doing. And maybe you want to tap in with them afterwards. Here's their contact, and you get to learn more about their business even deeper. Like, that's what I tried to do for my end. It's not about saying, like, all right, what's the most craziest topic I can put together? Like, I'm about to do nothing
Yeah,
but propaganda,
yeah, ruffle
right?
up some feathers.
It's
Yeah.
just gonna be like so bad, like ooh, like okay, we're gonna talk very spicy. It's like no, I don't want to do that, and I don't need to
Hmm.
do that. I'm more about like having intimate moments, the good and the bad. Hence of how this conversation has gone so far with all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
little
yeah.
the tricks and everything. But I think that what makes it special. It's not about trying to
That's
make
what
everything
makes,
so
yeah.
perfect, you know?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm not interviewing you, but this is what I love about having this kind of conversation with the safe room. It's just because it's kind of like it's organic, it feels authentic, it feels real, and it doesn't feel forced, and so it feels like it's attainable in a weird way, so that's what I like about this place. So it
I
really is a
appreciate
safe
that.
room.
I really really appreciate that, Foster, so much. Okay, I want to switch gears a bit. I know I mentioned in your bio that you went international and came to your fashion studies, which I kind of envy you because, like, man, Australia, New, like all these places, you're just like, yeah, forget Canada, forget the educational system here. I'm going international, baby. Australia, like Perth. I'm like, okay, I see you, Foster, but I definitely want to talk into that in terms of like, how was it, traveling across the world and being able to experience like different cultures while also like building your own skill and credibility as a fashion designer?
it was really awesome. If I to start, I would say everybody needs to travel. Everybody needs to travel. It opens your mind so much to understanding people, understanding why people do certain things. And it just makes sometimes the issues that you face seem so mundane, and when you travel and you experience different cultures, you learn so much. And I always feel like one culture's challenge is found the solution is found in another culture. So another culture's solution is another culture has the answer to another culture's problems. So it's really amazing to travel. And so what the opportunity that traveling gave me was that I was able to see how people relate with clothes. If we're since we're talking about fashion, I I was able to see how people understand clothing. I was able to see how certain models work in different countries. The model that I applied to Siyawareva is very similar to the model that it is used by a brand in Australia called Q. And it's we'll probably get to the conversation of that, but it's like just everyday luxury for a contemporary woman, corporate contemporary woman, um, just products that really outline her lifestyle and every day. So traveling was able to show me like, yeah, this is a great business model. Because when I came to Canada, I felt like Canada needed that, and I felt like Canada um, is yearning for a brand that kind of like speaks Canadian and connects with Canadian and tells the world it's Canadian, and so traveling helped me to see what Canada doesn't have, what Canada needs, because I'm able to compare to other parts of the world and say, in New York they have this, in Dubai they have this, in Zimbabwe they have this, in Australia they have this, and so I'm able to come back and say, okay, so in Canada, what can we do? What can I give? What can I offer the nation? And what can I say, that people would want to listen to?
I love that. Yeah, it's kind of like brought it in even more and just not saying like, okay, I'm coming into this new place or this new country and now just saying like,
Hmm.
okay, now that I'm here, like let me just kind of stick within like one lane. It's like, no, how can I come into, build upon the foundation, the structure that's already here rather than just like let me to
Yeah,
change it
yeah,
to make it feel too different or just a matter of I'm just gonna do the bare minimum, which I think is super important. And again, for traveling, again, it's like you mentioned, it's always good to go out and travel, experience different cities, different countries, different cultures, because you never know what is out there until you're actually out there. And I feel
yeah.
like for me, I haven't had the chance to have that experience, but I know if I do go somewhere, I would be completely culture shocked. I'd be like, I don't know what this is, but it's something I want to learn. It's something that I want
There's
to,
that too.
yeah, like it's like I want to learn about this and I want to actually, understand a little bit more. And then when you come back from your travels, it allows you to appreciate just, that said country, that said city a little bit more. Like, wow, like the way they do things is so special. It's so different. Like I've been here in Canada like all my life. And I feel like at this point, I'm just yearning to get out. I'm yearning to get out this point. Like, I want to go somewhere else. And I'm not even just talking the States. Like, let me go to another continent, bro. Like, take me to like Asia, somewhere, Europe. Like, let me go fancy and like really
Yeah,
like
yeah.
get myself like lost. Just out of the
Uh-huh.
world. Like I want no
Hmm.
one contacting me. I don't want no one like connecting with me. But again, I feel like for you, tying it back to fashion, just coming into Canada, like, okay, how can I extrapolate everything that I've seen, in Australia, in New York, in different places, and how could I help bring that type of feeling that I usually bring to, the Canadian culture to my potential clients here in Canada. So I think again, you just have such a strong, strong mindset when it comes to like, I'm here to create feelings. I'm not here to just kind of impress anyone or like try to be braggadocious about it. I just want to create feelings for my clients that they can resonate for themselves, that allows them to, create their own memories and just allowing them to just live in the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. Okay. Okay. Usually we be wrapping up, but since of all the technical difficulties, we're a little bit behind. I don't want to push the conversation too long, but we're gonna try to
No
get
problem.
everything in. So my next question, and I should probably say for anyone tuning in, you are listening to the Safe Room podcast here on Love Bay Radio. We had a fiesta of technical difficulties, but hey,
Oh
that's
yeah.
what we're here about. We're gonna let you guys know about what's going on. We're here with our wonderful guest Foster, and we've been talking a lot of fashion in terms of just like his own business, fashion overall, just how it for him it creates a feeling rather than just like trends alone or just like the overall landscape of it. But I do want to get a little bit deeper into your personal business model and how was it constructing that? And how do you try to explain it to individuals, not only that you're trying to target, but even outside of your target audience? Because again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, I didn't know much about fashion, but I feel like through this conversation, you've kind of convinced me in a way where like, listen, if I need to get a fashion designer, I'm gonna have to hit up Foster. Like, no lie. Like,
Well, you
So
have my number.
yeah, so I feel like again, you've done an excellent job kind of pitching yourself to me for someone again who doesn't know much about fashion. So I guess put that out that now into like, okay, you haven't met me and now you're meeting somebody else completely new.
Mhm,
How would
mhm.
you try to explain your business model to someone who probably doesn't know much about your business overall?
Yeah, well, basically, it's Siyawareva is everyday luxury, and I mentioned that our target audience is um, probably the working woman. I wish I like I said, and I also am trying to create a brand that is Canadian and speaks Canadian and represents in a Canadian way. And I think part of that would have been that I wish I could make the clothes less expensive so everybody could be able to um, acquire them. But because of cost of production and also the desire to make this a Canadian made brand, that kind of like leaves the brand to be a lot more, it brings the price up a little bit more. But in a nutshell, it's everyday luxury, and these are the clothes that you want to wear over and over again. This is the brand where whatever event you're going to, this is the brand you go to. So whether
Mm.
it's a party, whether it's the office, a wedding, something that transitions from the office to a party, or from a party to the office, this is the brand you want to go to. But you also, and we say it's everyday luxury because you want to still feel good in it, and you still want to be sure that you're okay in it wherever you are. I hope that kind of makes sense to
No, it,
to
it makes
anybody
it
listening.
makes total sense. Like I totally resonate with that. And again, it's like you said, everyday luxury. It's something you want to wear over and over and over again. You want to have that sense of feeling with your clothes where like, again, it brings out a certain emotion. Like, depending on, where you're going today. Maybe it's like a nice sunny day. You want to wear something that kind of
Hmm.
resonates that or exudes that feeling. Or maybe if it's like, oh, it's raining today, but I don't want to feel down. Maybe I'm heading to this social event and I want to be connecting with people. I don't want to be wearing like baggy jeans or like a hoodie or just like, oh, don't talk to me. It's like, no, like let me try to put a more of a business casual look that allows me to,
Hmm.
still get my groove up for this event. But on the way there, it's like, oh, actually, I feel like $1,000,000. I don't feel down. I don't feel like it's raining outside. Like I feel
Yeah,
for you,
yeah.
you understand that can't speak today, ladies and gentlemen. Psychology, the psychology of fashion sense, just styling, putting looks together. Again, I think that's super important because again, everyone just kind of assumes like, oh, this look looks perfect on you. You need to wear this, but it's like, all right, but I'm not really vibing with it. It's like, oh no, no, trust me, like you'll be fine. And I hate when people try to like persuade me. It's like, oh no, 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 this is good for you. This is good. I'm telling you right now, it's
Uh-huh.
not for me. And like, I have to say it like multiple times. And
Like,
clearly you're
I'm
not
not feeling
listening.
it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny.
Yeah, but I feel like it's very common. I think like you try to again have a one-on-one conversation with your clients. I can see that. I don't have to like read your mind, but I can tell like you're like, okay, what are you feeling like? Is this what you're feeling like? If not, then let's talk it out. Let's see how we can come to the same side where I can, demonstrate my value, my expertise, but also make you feel happy at the same time
Yeah,
where you're meeting your needs. It's not just like a lopsided, interaction. There's actual equality in terms of just how we're interacting, how we're talking. I think that's super important for any business because everyone kind of just talks about you got to make the bottom line, you got to make money. Again,
yeah,
we
yeah,
hear the
yeah,
same thing, and you're people. Look, you're not wrong. Everybody wants to make money, but I think the customer service is as equally important when it comes to any entrepreneur, any business that you want to run. You want to have a good relationship with your clients because that allows for retention, that allows them to come back and say, you know what, after that great interaction with you, I want to come back. I want to have,
Yeah.
someone like you in my pocket. Like, how it's amazing for an
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
entrepreneur or business owner to say that, hey,
Yeah.
I can go
Yeah.
back to Foster multiple times and he's got me.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate dream, and just to add on to what you were saying, having the conversation with our clients to say, how are you feeling? Because confidence is a major element, a big ingredient. In fact, the core ingredient of wearing any outfit. You could wear the same piece of clothing in two different moods, and you get two different reactions from people because of how you're feeling. And so it is important to have those initial conversations with the client to say, hey, you're having this event, fantastic, super excited for you. It's a wedding, it's a party, um, it's your first meeting, you're your keynote speaker, fantastic. How are you feeling? How do you want to feel? And then so I create and design things around that, also with my own sensibility, because that's instinctive to me. That's not even a conversation. And
Hmm.
so that is very important to have that conversation, because confidence is a very important thing that people do not often sort of like pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to have confidence in yourself because it allows you to show up at your absolute best.
Exactly, exactly. There you go. There you go. I love this. Is a whole new shot.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Okay. We do have one more thing I want to do. We have wrapped up all the questions, but I want to do like a fun activity.
All right.
Now, this one was kind of hard for me to put together. Now, usually I like to put my activities like together, ahead of time, but this one was so last minute. So I don't know if this will come out perfect, but you know what? I think if anything, what this episode and this interview has learned, we just have to go with the flow. So
Go
that's
with the
exactly what
flow.
I'm doing right
Yeah.
now.
Just
So,
go with the flow.
okay. So I have something very, very simple for you, Foster. Card, okay? Now,
Yeah.
I'm giving you a budget of $15. Okay? Just 15. And there's different categories. You have your $5 column, your $4, $3, $2, one, right? So
Hmm.
I'm gonna list out like something. It could be like, oh, a venue, a theme, and I'm making it fashion related. So all you have to do is spend your money wisely with the $15 you have to come up with. That's what I want you to basically
Wait,
do.
sir, I'm gonna need you to backtrack. I think I lost you a little bit there. So you're gonna need me to come up with something.
Yeah, I want you with $15. I want you to come up with the perfect fashion show, right? So I have a list of different categories, and then there's going to be like a $5 column, a
Hmm.
$4, $3, two, $1. And with $15, only $15, you have to build the perfect fashion show, okay?
Yeah,
Okay, don't worry. I will walk you through, so I won't
yeah.
make it too hard on you, okay?
That's all right. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. So the first thing we're gonna start off with is venue. Okay. So for $5, you can get and again, I hope I'm pronouncing these names right too, because again, I'm not the best when it comes to names, but the Grand Palais in Paris. That's for
Mhm.
$5. For $4, you can get the Temple of Dendor in Egypt. For $3, you can get the NYC Bar Association located in New York. For $2, you can get the Apollo Theater in New York. And then for $1, you can get the Valley of the Temples in Solicity. So
Oh,
you have to kind of choose which venue you want to have this like
I would
location.
choose the last one, the Valley of the Temple in Sicily.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Spent.
because I feel like that's a neutral theme that can sell to a broader audience. Yeah,
Okay.
I
I
think that
like
can
that. I
sell to a
like.
broader audience. Yeah.
All right. Hey, you're started off well. You're not spending too much of your budget off the jump. Okay.
Oh, I'm a little frugal here.
You're good, man. Okay, so that's $1 already spent, so you have $14 left. Okay. Now this is the next one is your runway model. Now, obviously, there's gonna be let's just hypothesis. There's multiple runway models, but this one's like your top model. Like this is like your je ne sais quoi. Like this is the
Mm.
top one that you're leaning on. So for $5, you can get Zendaya. For $4, you can get Michael B. Jordan. For $3, you can get Yara Shahidi. For $2, you can get Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Or for $1, you can get Kevin Hart.
I would invest on Zendaya because Zendaya is kind of like she's having a moment right now. And I mean, with that cyborg outfit she did from Terry Mugler, that metallic thing that she did for Dune, oh, for sure, that would get me a lot of traffic. So I would definitely get Zendaya.
Okay, I had a
It's a
feeling you're gonna pick
spend, but
Zendaya.
like, yeah, it's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off.
Okay. All right, so that's $5 for Zendaya. So you've already spent $6. Okay,
Yeah.
you got $9 left. We got three more
Oh crap.
categories. Don't worry, you got this. You got this.
I need an
So
accountant. Where's my accountant when I need one?
don't worry. We'll calculate it at the end, okay? So
All right.
next we're gonna do the fabric material, okay?
Mhm.
Now, just to give you a little of a, I guess, a freebie. This does not have to be like the only material that you use when it comes to all the looks. This is just like the most, like the common one, the predominant
Mhm.
fabric material, okay? So for $5, you can get cotton. For 4, you can get wool. For 3, you can get polyester. For 2, you can get silk. And then for $1, you can get leather.
Oh, so what season is this? Are we talking spring, summer, or fall, winter? What do we?
I'm leaving that to you. I'm not gonna give you any more hints. You just
Well,
gotta figure it
I
out.
mean, yeah. This is how my fashion brain works. So we're having the theme at the Valley of Temples in Sicily. So
Yes.
Sicily is warm. So I think this would be a perfect spring, summer collection. You got Zendaya, young, gorgeous girl. She's definitely giving a really cool summer spring vibe. Perfect combination, perfect tempo, perfect model. So that means I have to use lighter fabrics. So I would go for the silk, but I feel like I'm spending too much money here. But yeah,
Listen,
the silk will
silk is
do.
good. That's only $2. Only $2 for
Yeah,
the
well,
silk.
so yeah, I could save $1 still, but yeah, okay, silk will do.
So you're good. So that's $2 for the silk. So just to recap, you got the Valley of the Temples for $1. You have Zendaya for
Yeah,
5, and
$5.
then you
Yeah,
have the silk for $2. So it's only $8 total. You have $7 left.
I'm thinking of how much more stuff we need.
We listen. We only got two. We only got two more things. Okay.
All
So
right, awesome.
the next one I have is for budget. So basically, let's say you have to put together a team for like hair, makeup, lighting, everything like that. This is the budget that you have to decide. So for $5, you can get a budget of 15,000. Okay. For $4, you can get a budget of 10K. For $3, you get a budget of 5K. For $2, you get a budget of 2K. And then for $1, you get a budget of $1,000.
Wow. So that's just for everything. So for $5, I'm getting 15.
15.
For $4, I'm getting
10,000.
for three.
For 3, 5,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for three. Because I'm thinking the hair and makeup will not it's not gonna be crazy. I'm gonna keep it neutral. Um, it's spring, summer. I'm not gonna go too crazy. That should lower the cost. And I don't need to put on a strong look because I already have Zendaya there. She's gonna carry a lot of the weight of this show. So clearly I'm a fan of Zendaya. And yeah, I think I'll go for three. So that's $5,000 budget for
Five
hair and
grand.
makeup. Yeah, yeah.
It's doable. I mean,
It's
you
doable. Call a few interns and say, hey, you're coming in to come and help us out. Yeah, it's doable.
okay. I like that. I like that. So that's $3 for a 5K budget. So you're only left
I'm
with
at 11.
$4
Yeah.
left. So this is the final category. Okay. So this one's the theme. This is the final one, the theme. So for $5, you have art in fashion. Okay. For $4, you have cultural renaissance. For $3, you have global fusion. For $2, you have tropical paradise. And then for $1, you have urban jungle. So before you answer, you only have $4 left. So you can't get the $5 option. That's already off the
Of
market.
course, that's definitely out the window. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get the what's the last one? The urban fusion,
Urban jungle.
urban jungle. I think urban jungle would work because you also want to bring it into the future. You don't want it to be too primitive and too outdated because number one, the location in the Valley of Temples in Sicily, and then sort of like having that sort of like juxtaposition of urban fusion, but in a temple of in a place in the Valley of Temples would be nice. Would be nice. So I think, yeah, Chanel says three. So you want me to pick three?
I mean, she's like, go for the global fusion. She's like, hold on, let me
Global
change your
fusion.
mind.
I think the global fusion would be great. The global fusion would be great. But then the thing is that the location of the show would sort of like contradict that in a way, because how is the global fusion going to work in a Valley of Temples? So it would need a
Mm.
more contemporary sort of like location to sort of like fit in that thing. So because of that reason, uh, I know, right? Yeah, $7. God, goodness. Anyway, who's your accountant, Sean? We need to talk to them because this budget is ridiculous. We need that $15. I don't know. Anyway, so I would go for the urban jungle. Urban
We
jungle. So
see
I think I
someone
would
else
stay.
in the comments saying global fusion from Jada. So she listen. There's a couple of people saying, "Hey, listen, you might
Yeah,
have to
I
change your
think global
mind."
fusion is the way to go. You know what? You're giving me ideas. You might just see in a season or two, like Foster Siyawareva does global fusion collection in the Valley of Temples.
Okay, okay, but okay. Are you still sticking with urban jungle though?
I am sticking with urban jungle for sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So
yeah.
that's $1. So let's go over what you selected. So for venue, we're going with the Valley of the Temples for $1.
Hmm.
For runway model, top runway model, we got Zendaya for 5, which I think is the only answer. So like you made the right decision on
Yeah,
that.
I know. I can't even remember anybody else there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
For
Yara Shahidi.
There's a couple. There's a couple. For the fabric material, you went $2 for silk. For the budget, you went $3 for 5,000, and for the theme, you went for urban jungle. So I think that was only $12 spent. So you have $3 to spare.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, I like that. Well, and I'll probably say
That
of
goes
those
into my pocket
selections.
as the designer for my
Yeah,
hard work.
there you go. There you go. There you go.
Is it
Saving
Bitcoin?
money.
Is that Bitcoin or is it gold? I
I don't.
don't.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I would probably say of all the selection that you made for that, out of 10, how would you rate that your potential runway or fashion show? Like how would you rate it out of 10?
Oh.
And be honest. If you think like I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
if this
yeah,
is
yeah. The themes were not really the themes that I had were not really kind of like they didn't really speak to me, but because I had only five themes, so I couldn't go outside of that. So that would bring me down a point or two. Um, Zendaya will keep me up there. The location will keep me up there. The budget for hair and makeup, you never know when the person spends a lot or less on a show. So unless they tell you how much they actually spend in. So I think I'll give myself an eight and a half in terms of like how good the show would be and the impact it would make. I think eight and a half is
I respect that. It's a
yeah.
good
Well, that's what
answer.
I think. I mean, anybody else who thinks otherwise, go and have your own podcast. But today I'm here.
I love it. I love it.
Right.
Okay. That's all the stuff I have today, Foster. Thank you for being on the Safe Room podcast. And thank you for having to endure what was probably the most chaotic interview that I've ever done with all the technical difficulties. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. It was really great being here and just having this conversation. And it's always great when you're having a conversation with somebody, you start to, or the questions you ask, or the questions you are asked, you start to think of other things and different approaches, and it's sort of like calls you to a higher standard. So which is great. So I'm really grateful I had the opportunity to be here. So thank you, Sean, and thank you, Safe
Yeah.
Room.
I appreciate that. Where can people find you on social media? Where can people contact you?
Or they can definitely follow me on Instagram at Siyawareva, so Siyawareva. And yeah, that's the best place to reach me. I'm still, you can click on the link in the bio if you want to have a look at the new collection. The catalog is there. I'm working on expanding the brand. Like I said, this is my first season, so there's a lot of growing to be done and a lot of development. But I'm really excited and really optimistic as well. So thank you so much.
I love that. Thank you again to Foster Siyawareva for
Hey,
coming
there
on.
you go.
I
Hey,
got
I
it
knew
now.
you had it in you. I
I
knew
had
you
it
had
in
it
me.
in you.
See, we built it up. At the beginning, it was like,
There you
In the
go.
middle, it's
I
like,
mean,
okay. Then at the end, we
oh
finally
my
got it.
goodness. I mean, chef's kiss, 10 out of 10. I think
All
you need to
right.
be our brand ambassador.
Thank you, man. Thank you again for Foster coming on. Thank you guys for tuning into the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. I appreciate everyone who stayed here through all the ups and downs of this conversation. You guys are the true MVPs of this entire interview. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at Safe Room Official, the Safe Room Official. Make sure you listen to our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you guys can check out all of our previous conversations. We'll be back. We'll be back. You see, guys, I'm already tired. I think I'm ready to clock out. That's why my words are jumping up. But we will be back next week, hopefully without no technical difficulties, listening to your favorite podcast here on Love Bay Radio. Thank you again to everyone. We'll see you guys next time.